Lesson 3.1 is pretty simple, but I just want to go over what we're talking about in class as far as using mental math. We're just multiplying 2-digit times 2-digit, where we're multiplying with tens. And for my first example, it's 60 times 40. What I've been telling the kids to do, circle your basic fact. So I would do 6 times 4, which is 24, and then I'll ask how many zeros are in the factors, and I have 1, and then I have 2. So I'm going to multiply by 100. Or they say place 2 zeros. I try really hard to make sure kids aren't saying add 2 zeros, because 24 plus 2 zeros is still 24. So I'm just trying to make sure that their language is correct as they are multiplying. Another example is 30 times 50. Again, circling your basic fact. 3 times 5 is 15. I have 2 zeros, so I will place 2 zeros or multiply by 100 to get my final product. Another example in the Go Math book is where they use halving and doubling. So I would take half of 14, which is 7, and then I could times that by 70, which will get me 490, and then you double that. And this is trying to get them ready for mental math or continue with their mental math strategies. So that's another way to do it, halving. Take half of 14, and then you double your product. One more example of halving and doubling. Half of 18 would be 9. Then you'll do 9 times 60, which equals 540. And then you double that to be able to get the product without actually having to go through and do all of the work. Another way that we've talked about, if I had 23 times 70, I would come down here and I would do 23 times 7 and do the regrouping like usual. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. Now there was 1 0 with my factor, so then I would just place that 0 at the end or multiply by 10. Another example like that, I could use 49 times 50. You could take 49 times 5. And if they want to circle that, that's totally fine. I'm pretty visual, so that helps me a lot. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 times 4 is 20, plus a 4 is 24. And again, looking back up on how many zeros you have, and you will just place 1 0. So those are just a few strategies as we're starting chapter 3.